Yeah, it's visible. Only you can start.
Yeah,
Yes,
okay,
madam, you
thank
can
you.
start.
Yes, sir. Good morning. Now we will see the electronic devices module. Today is the last session. At the end of the session, we are going to give some quiz type of questions. You please try to attend. Okay. So I will start the session. Now, the first question is based on half wave rectifier. In a half wave rectifier, if an AC supply is 60 Hertz, then what is the AC ripple at output? First, let me clarify what is rectifier. Rectifier is nothing but it will convert AC to DC, that we all know, right? So here what they had given is in a half wave rectifier, if an AC supply is 60 Hertz, then what is the AC ripple at the output? Now the answer given is 30 Hertz, 60 Hertz, 20 Hertz, 15 Hertz, right? Now any one of you, can you guess the answer and post it in chat box? Can you guess the answer and post it in the chat box? Can you guess the answer and post it in the chat box? What is the answer? Now I'll clarify. The ripple factor means actually the ripple factor measures the percentage of AC component present in the rectified output. Okay. So what is the aim of a rectifier? It will convert AC to DC, right? So it will convert AC to pure DC, but the output which we are getting at the rectifier is a pulsating DC. Pulsating DC means both AC as well as DC components are present at the output. Now, our aim is to convert a pure DC, right? So now we need to calculate what is the percentage of AC output present. Okay, but if you see the ideal value of a ripple factor, it should be 0. So it should be 0 means what? There is no ripple, that is there should not be any AC at all. When there is no AC, obviously you will get a pure DC. So we achieved the aim, right? Now how will you measure the ripple factor? So ripple factor gamma E is defined as RMS value of AC component of output over average value of output. Okay, so Y equal to I squared RMS over I squared DC minus 1, right? So the ripple factor of half wave rectifier is 1.21. Okay,
Madam, please full
full
screen.
screen, sir. 1 minute. One minute, sir. So now can you able to see? Sir?
Yes, ma'am.
Sir? Okay. So the gamma is defined as I squared RMS over I squared DC minus 1. So the ripple factor, that is the AC component present at the output, is actually 1.21. That I am representing in terms of percentage, 121 percentage of AC component. Now you tell me what is the answer. I had given the clue, right? The ripple component is actually 121 percentage of AC component. The output at the output, at the rectifier output, 121 percentage of AC component is present. Now you tell me what is the answer. Can anyone post it in the chat box? What is the answer? What is the answer? What is the answer? The answer is 60 Hertz. What we have supplied? We have supplied AC supply is what? 60 Hertz. Then what is the AC ripple at the output? Output is also 60 hertz because we got the ripple component as 121 percentage. That is 100 percentage of input is present at the output. Okay. So what is the input you had given? 60 hertz. So output is also 60 hertz. So that is why half wave rectifier is not used for any practical purposes. Understand? Right. Now we'll go to the second question. The second question is the maximum power dissipation capacity of a transistor is 50 milliwatt. If the collector emitter voltage is 10 volt, what is the safe collector current that can be allowed through the transistor? I repeat, the maximum power dissipation capacity of a transistor is 50 milliwatt. If the collector emitter voltage is 10 volt, what is the safe collector current that can be allowed through the transistor? So first of all, whenever they'll give the question, first you should observe the question properly and you try to understand what type of question it is. Here, the maximum power dissipation capacity of a transistor is 50 milliwatt. It means it is a power amplifier, right? So what kind of a power amplifier you have to check, right? So it is a 50 milliwatts power dissipation, that is 50 percentage of dissipation. They had given the maximum power. So 50 percentage of power dissipation is taking over. So it means it is a class A power amplifier. Okay. So in the class A power amplifier, you should check what will be the output. If the collector emitter voltage is 10 volt, that is they had given VCE equal to 10 volt. What is the safe collector current that can be allowed through the transistor, right? You all might have seen the characteristics, output characteristics of a transistor. Okay. So we will get, that is the safe collector current, you can lay it on your characteristic is nothing but at VCC by 2. Okay. Right. So now let me clarify. You can do it in two methods. First, let me tell you the method 1. In method 1, VCE equal to VCC by 2, right? Because I told you that this is a class A power amplifier, right? So in the class A power amplifier, right, it conducts for both cycle. So the safest point to lay your current is at VCE equal to VCC by 2, right? So your VCC, now you need to find out what is the maximum power they had given, right? So first you need to find out what is your current, right? So VCC equal to what? VCE into 2, which is equal to 20 volt. So the maximum power they had given, right? So the maximum power they had given, P max is VCC into ICC. So here 50 milliwatt over 20, which is equal to 2.5 milliamps. This is one method of finding the ICC value, right? Another method is actually you can directly apply the power equation. PC equal to VCE into IC. Okay. So power value they had given, VCE value also they had given, right? So 50 milliwatt, sorry, here it is 50 milliwatt, right? Minus 3, it's a mistake, right? 50 milliwatt over 10. So which is equal to 5 milliamps. So for safe collector current, always your IC should be less than 5 milliamps, right? For a power amplifier, IC should be less than 5 milliamps. So as per the option, I can take half of it, which is 2.5 milliamps. Now, what is the answer? Your answer is going to be P, option B, which is 2.5 milliamps. Okay, right. Next, we'll go to the third question. In the third question, I had taken a diode circuit. Okay, it's a simple diode circuit. The diffusion resistance of the diode shown in the figure will be, what will be the diffusion resistance, right? So I told you that the diffusion capacitance and diffusion resistance both play a predominant role in forward bias, right? So here the diode is forward biased with a 9 volt and the drop across the diode is 0.7 volt and the resistance is 4.15 kilo ohms, right? So what you have to do is you need to find out the resistance. So we all know V equal to I into R, right? So R is equal to V by I. So first let me find what is the current flowing through the circuit. To find the current flowing through the circuit, what I have to do is I have to apply the Kirchhoff's voltage law, right? See, this is the circuit given, right? This is the circuit given. They had given the voltage and the drop across the diode is 0.7 volt and resistance is 4.15 kilo ohms, right? Now, so let me write the Kirchhoff's voltage law. So if I write the Kirchhoff's voltage law, minus 9 plus 0.7 plus 4.15 into I, which is equal to 0, right? Now I am finding I value. I value is 2 milliamps, right? So diffusion resistance you need to find out. I already told you V is equal to I into R, right? So R is equal to V by I. Here I have taken V value as a thermal voltage. So you can ask me what is the why we are taking here a thermal voltage, right? See here the diffusion resistance occurs in the depletion region, right? So in the depletion region you have only immobile ions, right? So if and only if I apply some thermal voltage, then only the immobile ions it will that is the depletion region will get breakdown, right? So that is what I am taking here the thermal voltage. So thermal voltage we all know it is 25 millivolt, right? So R is equal to 25 millivolt over I value, right? So my R value equal to 12.5 ohms, right? I value is 12.5 ohms. So this is the answer, right? So the answer is actually it is 12.5 ohms. This is a dash given. They have not given any option. So the answer is it is 12.5 ohms. Clear? So we are writing the Kirchhoff's voltage law. We are finding, see, whenever they are asking the term, you should first frame with the Ohm's law equation, right? So they had given, they are asking you to find the resistance. So R is equal to V by I. So I they have not given. So you take I. Now you have to see what kind of a resistance they have asked. In case if they asked for a dynamic resistance, you have to write the change in voltage over change in current, right? So that is your dynamic resistance. So in the diffusion resistance, Vt by I. Understand? It is you have to put Vt by I. In case of dynamic resistance, change in voltage over change in current you have to put. Okay, right. Now, we will, I hope you all can understand. If you have any doubts, you please post me in the chat box, right? Next, we'll go to the next question, right? An N-channel MOSFET is biased with VGS equal to 3 volt and VDS equal to 1.5 volt, and the value of threshold voltage for the MOS transistor is 1 volt. VT is given. Then the MOSFET is operating in what region? Linear region, saturation region, cutoff region, or none of this. Okay. So here they had given the N-channel MOSFET is biased with VGS equal to 3 volt and VDS is 1.5 volt. So we all know the equation for all regions, right? So for cutoff region, here it is equal to 0. For linear region, right? For linear region, VDS is less than VGS minus VTH, right? And for saturation region, VDS is greater than or equal to VGS minus VTH. Okay, right. So now what are the values given? They had given VGS equal to 3 volt. MOS transistor value, that is threshold voltage, is 1 volt. What is threshold voltage? This is the maximum voltage where your device can turn on, right? So VGS is 3 volt and the MOS transistor threshold voltage is 1 volt and VDS is given as 1.5. So let me check. Now your VGS is equal to, if you substitute it as a 3 volt minus, actually your VTH is 1 volt, right? So now VDS is what? How much? 1.5. So 3 minus 1, you will get a 2 voltage, right? So this condition satisfies. Next, for saturation region, your VDS must be greater than or equal to VGS minus VTH. Now VDS value is given as what? 1.5, right? And your VGS is what? Actually it is 3 minus 1, which is 2, right? So this saturation is not valid. So I'll go for a linear region. Okay, right? Cutoff region, it is 0, right? They had given 3 options. One is linear, next one is saturation, third one is cutoff, and fourth one is none of the above, right? So saturation region, it will not hold the condition, and only the linear region holds the condition, right? So your VDS is less than VGS minus VTH. So the answer is actually here it is the linear region. Option A is correct answer, right? Next. I think all of you can able to follow me, right? Next. We'll go to the fifth question. An ideal N-channel MOSFET has parameter mu n Cox equal to 4.53 Armstrong. Okay, right? So 4.53 into 10 power 1 Armstrong, which is, and Vt equal to 0.7 volt and Tox is 0.4 nanometer, right? It is found by measurement that it is operating in a saturation region. So they had given clearly what is the region which it is acting. So it is acting in the saturation region. The power dissipated in the MOSFET is 36 millivolt. So P value is given, which is 36 millivolt, and VDS is 6 volt. So, and you need to find out what is the aspect ratio for the MOSFET when VGS equal to 5 volt. Okay. See, from the condition itself, I can able to see it is in the saturation region. Your VDS must be greater than or equal to VGS minus VT. Now, VDS is 6 volt, VGS is 5, and VT is 0.7. Obviously, VDS is greater, so it is in the saturation region, right? So you need to find out the aspect ratio. Aspect ratio is nothing but width over length. Okay, you need to find out W by L. Okay, so first, in order to find that, you need to write the current equation, right? But here they had given the power dissipated in the MOSFET is 36 millivolt. What is your current equation? Your current equation is IDS is equal to mu n Cox W by L VGS minus VTH whole square, right? But see, you have to find one thing here. They had given Tox equal to 0.4 nanometer. See, here nothing to do with the 0.4 nanometer. Actually, they had given mu n Cox value directly. Straight away, they had given mu n Cox value. In case if they had not given Cox value, then you have to find Cox value equal to epsilon ox over Tox. Okay, thickness of the oxide layer, right? So in that case only we can use this Tox. Otherwise, it's not needed. Okay, please don't get confused with the Tox. You need to check the formula carefully, right? Mu n Cox equal to 4.53 value they had given, right? So now let me solve this. See, they had given power. So power value what they had given it as a 36 millivolt. Sorry, 36 milliwatt, right? So P equal to VDS into IDS, right? Power is given as 36 milliwatt, right? And they had given VDS value as a 6, right? So my IDS is equal to 6 milliamps, right? Now it is clearly stating that the mass in the saturation region, right? For saturation region, I told you that VDS should be greater than or equal to VGS minus VTH, right? Now your IDS equal to mu n Cox over 2 W by L VGS minus VT whole squared, right? Mu n Cox value they had clearly given. What is mu n Cox value? Mu n Cox value is 4.53 into 10 Armstrong, right? And you need to find out the aspect ratio, which is W by L, right? And VGS value they had given, which is 5 volt, and VT is they had given it as a 0.7, right? So if you apply mu and Cox value, and then you have to take this W by L, and if you substitute the value, you will get the W by L ratio as 0.13. Okay, so they had given options as 14.5, 9.8, 0.143, and 5.4. So the option is 0.143. Clear? Right. I hope you can understand. They had given the mu and Cox value. They had given the power value and VDS value they had given. So you find out the current equation. Okay, you find out the current IDS value. Then you substitute IDS value, mu and Cox value, VGS minus VT whole squared value. Find out the W by L ratio, which is 0.143. Right? Okay. So the option is C. Option is C. Next, let me go to the next question. This is also based on the MOSFET. Okay, the parameter of the transistor in figure, right? So it is given, the transistor is given. You kindly observe the transistor, right? So actually, I had given the supply voltage as 5 volt, right? So this is a drain, gate, and source. N channel MOSFET, drain, gate, and source. So here they have not given any resistor. Directly they had given the current value. Okay, so IDS equal to, they had given a 50 microamps, right? Your drain and gate is shorted here. Please try to observe the diagram carefully. So your drain and gate is shorted here. So the parameter of the transistor, so threshold voltage they had given it as a 1.2 volt. Kn is actually mu n Cox by 2 W by L, right? Sorry, mu n Cox W by L, a value they had given, so which is 0.5 value, and lambda is given as 0. So what is this lambda? Lambda is nothing but the channel length modulation. Okay, this channel length modulation will occur only in the long channel. Okay, so this is actually a long channel effect. So here lambda value is given as 0. What they are asking is, they are asking you to find voltage VDS, right? That is, they are asking you to find out the output voltage, right? Now, so you need to find out the output voltage. For that, they had given the IDS value, they had given threshold voltage, they had given Kn value, they had given, right? So what you have to do is, given threshold voltage as 1.2 volt, right? Kn equal to 0.5, right? And lambda value equal to 0. We need to find out what is your VDS. Okay, so I told you that from the figure, actually it is 50 microamps, right? Now ID is equal to, this is actually mu n Cox by 2 into W by L, right? So the whole value is given as 0.5, right? VGS minus VT whole squared into 1 plus lambda. Anyway, lambda value is 0, right? Now ID value is what I had given, the which is 50 microamps. ID value is 50 microamps. So 50 into 10 power minus 6, which is equal to, right? You take your Kn value 0.5 into 10 power minus 3. VGS minus VT value they had given. You need to find out what is your VGS value, right? So your VGS value is, if you apply and you solve it, you will get VGS minus 1.2, and here 50 microamps and this is 0.5 milli. So you'll get root of 0.1. So your VGS value equal to, I'll get 1.52 volt. Okay, 1.52 volt. So this is actually VDS equal to VGS, which is equal to 1.52 volt, right? So my VDS value is what they are asking to find out VDS. So VDS equal to VGS, because the transistor is in the saturation region. So for saturation region, your VDS should be greater than or equal to, right? So your VDS equal to VGS, which is 1.52 volt. Clear? Right. So now the options are, right? I'll go back to the question. Here they had given it as a dash. They have not given any options. So the parameter of the transistor for this IDS is 50 microamps. So we got the answer as, right, VGS equal to 1.52 volt. So it is nothing but VDS. VDS is equal to 1.52 volt. Right? Clear? I hope you can understand. Shall I move on to the next question? Next question based on the diode. In the circuit shown, okay, both the diodes are ideal. I have taken here two diodes, D1 and D2. Okay, D1 and D2. I have taken two diodes, D1 and D2. If V in that is V in input value equal to 10 sine omega t, okay, then the output waveform of V naught of t can be represented by what? Okay, first what you have to do is you need to observe the diagram first. When you observe the diagram, here the value, power supply value here given as a 15 volt, it is 1 milliamps. Okay, right? Here the resistor value is given it as a 1 kilo ohm, right? Here we are applying the input value. What is your input value? 10 sine omega t. So if I apply 10 sine omega t here, look at the diode, how it is placed. Look at the diode. Now your D1, if I apply 10 sine omega t, obviously this diode is reverse biased. When the diode is reverse biased, actually it will act as a open circuit. Clear? It will act as a open circuit. So there is no connection from input to this point. Clear? Right? Now only this D2 will be on because D2 is connected here, right? So D2 will be forward biased. Now let me check one by one, right? So in the circuit shown, both the diodes are ideal. V in of t is 10 sine omega t. Then the output waveform of V naught of t, you need to find out. Okay. Now see, I have drawn the circuit again here. When V in of t is greater than 0 volt, that is they had given 10 volt, 10 sine omega t, right? So greater than 0 volt, obviously my D1 is off and D2 will be on. So what will be the output? What will be the output here? V0 is equal to what? See, when D2 is on means obviously it is shorted here. It is short circuited, right? It is short circuited. So you have only a resistor and we have a current source. My output voltage is what? It is 1 milliamps and 1 kilo ohms. So output voltage is 1 volt. Clear? Output voltage is 1 volt. Now the next case, if I take Vn equal to less than 0 volt. When I take Vn equal to less than 0 volt, right? What will happen here? Now less than 0 volt. Less than 0 means obviously negative value. Now my D1 is actually forward biased. Now D1 will be on. So when D1 is forward biased means it will act as a short circuit here. It will act as a short circuit and D2 will be off. Okay, because here I am giving a negative value. So D2 will be off. So when D2 is off, what will happen? Right? What is your, see, now D2 off means the path exists from here to here only. Clear? The path, because D2 is off means it is open circuited at this place. So the path exists only from V into 1 kilo ohm and here this place. Right? So what is my V0 here? My V0 is V in of t plus 1. V0 is, we found already, it is 1 volt. So here V in of t plus 1 volt, whatever may be your V in voltage which you are taking, right? I am taking less than 0 volt. So that voltage plus 1. Clear? I hope you understand. See, when I take V in value is greater than 0 volt, your D1 is in the reverse biased. When it is reverse biased, it is completely open. So there is no connection from this point to this point. Right? I have a only path from here. Right? In that case, V0 equal to 1 kilo ohm. Right? 1 kilo ohm into 1 milliamps, my V0 equal to 1 volt. Right? Right. When Vn is less than 0, my D1 will be on and D2 will be off. So here there is no path. So the path existing between from this place to this place. Okay. Now V in of t is V in of t plus 1. Okay. So first you observe the question, and if in case if they had given a circuits like this, first initially you just observe the position of transistor or diode, right? So where it is connected, how it is connected, then you proceed. Okay, right? See, simply we should not go for a theoretical calculation. First you should observe the transistor and the diodes carefully, where it is placed and how it is connected, then only we have to go for the calculation. Blindly don't go for a theoretical calculation, right? So that is what here it says. Now we'll go to the next question. This question is actually as simple as that, right? Now the direction of electric field intensity in a PN junction diode is, direction of electric field intensity in a PN junction diode is, what is the direction of electric field intensity in a PN junction diode, right? Option A, from P to N. Option B, from N to P. Option C, from junction to both sides. Option D, none of the above. So what will be the option? You tell me. Direction of electric field intensity in a PN junction diode is from P to N, from N to P, from junction to both sides, and none of the above. Can you give me in the chat box? What will be the answer? Direction of electric field in a PN junction diode is. So first you draw the PN diode circuit. Okay. So when at room temperature, okay, PN diode circuit. Now in the depletion region, what are all the particles existing? At the N side, what are all the particles? You draw the diagram. I will show you in the next slide. Okay, what are all the particles existing? So at the N side, what are all the particles existing? At P side, what are all the particles existing? So at room temperature, during forward bias condition, what will happen, right? All the electrons will move towards the holes, right? So here you will have immobile ions. What are all the immobile ions at the N side? Donors, right? At the P side, you have acceptor ions. Okay. Now I'll show you the diagram. See, actually here this is your P and N. This is your depletion region. So in the depletion region, here you have a donor ions and you have an acceptor ion. So these are all immobile ions. These are all immobile ions. Since these are all immobile ions, there is a net positive charge and a net negative charge existing. Okay, that is what here I have applied here as a net positive and net negative charge. Okay, so you will have P side, that is V naught is positive on N side and negative on P side, that is acceptor ions. Here it is a donor ions. Okay, so your electric field is always from positive to negative. Okay, electric field is always from positive to negative, right? So here actually now your answer is, what is your answer? From P to N, from N to P, from junction to both sides, and none of the above. So what is the answer? Always it is from positive to negative. So P to N, the electric field intensity is positive to negative. Sorry, here I have written it as from N to P, right? Next, we'll go to the next slide. In the circuit shown in the figure, the BJT has a current gain beta. Current gain is given as 50. For an emitter base voltage, VEB equal to 600 millivolt. The emitter collector voltage VEC is, what is the answer? They had given, see here VE is given it as a 3 volt. Okay, right? And VEB is given it as a 600 millivolt, right? And the base resistance given as a 60 kilo ohms. Base resistance is given as 60 kilo ohms, right? and RC value is given as 500 ohms, right? Now, what they are asking in the circuit, the BJT has a current gain beta and emitter base voltage as 600 millivolt. The emitter collector voltage as VEC actually how much? 2 volt, 2.4 volt, 2.5 volt, 3 volt. Now you need to find out the answer. Okay. So shall we go to the answer? How to do it? Right. See, they are given emitter voltage, right? But here given it as a VEB, emitter base voltage as 600 millivolt. I can write emitter base voltage as VE minus VB. Okay, but VE is given, right? We will see that. See, first one is, we'll go here. Emitter base voltage is 0.60, sorry, 0.6 volt. 60 millivolt they had given there. I am taking it as a 0.6 volt. Beta value given as 50. So I can write VE minus VB, VEB as VE minus VB, which is equal to 0.6 volt. Okay. What is VE given here? VE given is actually 3 volt. It is given as 3 volt, right? So now you substitute V value as 3 minus VB, which is equal to 0.6. So what is your VB? Your VB is actually 2.4 volt, right? I got. Now here emitter voltage is 3 volt. Okay. My VB voltage is 2.4 volt, right? Now what I have to do is I need to find out the current, because beta value they had given, which is 50. Okay. So we all know that IC equal to beta times of IB. Okay, right? So what you have to do is, first you need to find out what is your IC value. Okay, right? Now what you have to do is, first you go to IB is equal to VB value we know, right? Which is 2.4, right? And that is your RB value is 60. Okay, so what is your IC value? You need to find out. Now your IC value is 50 into 2.4. This is, we are taking this, okay, 2.4 IB value. We are taking IB value. Beta is 50 into 2.4 over 60. Okay, right? Now actually this is 2.6, right? 2.6 into 5. So now this is your IC value. Now what is your VC? VC is equal to what? IC into RC. Okay. So what is the RC value they had given? 500 ohms. RC value they had given is 500 ohms. So what is the IC value? 2.4 over 6 into 5 milliamps. Do you understand? First we found VEB equal to 0.6. I repeat, VEB equal to 0.6 volt, beta equal to 50. VE minus VB is equal to 0.6. So you substitute VE value, which is given here as a 3 volt, right? Minus VB is equal to 0.6. So I got VB value equal to 2.4. Here beta is given. We know that IC equal to beta times of IB, but we don't know what is IB value and we don't know what is IC value. Ultimately, what we need to find? We need to find VEC. Okay, we need to find VEC. So first we need to find out VE value. We know it is actually 3 volt, right? So we need to find out VC. So VC equal to what? You need to equate with the Ohm's law. V is equal to I into R, right? VC equal to I. What I here? I am finding the collector voltage. So obviously I need to go for the collector current. Okay. Now what is your collector current? IC equal to beta times of IB. How will you find out IB? IB is equal to VB over RB. Okay. So IC equal to beta times of IB value. Just substitute. Now this IC value, right? You substitute in here. VC equal to IC into RC. Your RC is equal to how much? It is equal to 500 ohms. RC equal to 500 ohms. Right? This into IC. Okay. This into IC. So your VC equal to 1 volt. So what is the question? What we need to find out? We need to find out the VEC, right? We need to find out VEC. So VEC equal to VE minus VC, right? So VE minus VC is nothing but actually VE value is 3 and VC value is 1, which is equal to 2 volt, right? So now let me go to the answer. Answer is A 2 volt, 2.4 volt, 2.5 volt, 3 volt, right? So the answer is option A. See, again and again I am repeating that whenever they will give a circuits like this, first you write the data what and all they had given. Okay, see VE is given, right? And what they had given, VEB is given, right? What they are asking, beta value is given. VEC you need to find out. Okay, so immediately what is VEC? E value is given. So you need to only find out only one value, which is VC. Okay, so V means whenever it comes to voltage, you equate with the Ohm's law, I into R. So VC equal to IC into RC, but we don't know what is IC. So you just see what are all the options they had given here, right? What are all the options they had given? They had given the beta value. So how will you find what is beta? Beta is IC by IB. Okay, we don't know what is IB, what is IC, and what is IB, right? So for that, first what you have to do, you need to find out first what is I, that is VB value. IB means actually V by R. R value is given. So how will you find out VB? See, from the given values you find out VB. Okay, then IC equal to beta times of IB, right? Then you finally find out what is your VC value. Okay, right? Okay, so this is how you have to do this. Okay, now we'll go to the next question. Consider the impurity doping profile in a silicon PN junction as shown, right? It is given in the figure. Okay, assume that zero voltage is applied to the PN junction. Okay, zero voltage is applied. Okay, you have not applied any voltage at all. Okay, so now for silicon, relative permittivity is epsilon R is 11.7 they had given. Now, what is the question? What will be the built-in potential barrier? See, in the first class itself, we have seen how to find the built-in potential. VBI equal to VT ln NA ND by NI square. That is your built-in potential equation. Now, what they are asking is what will be the built-in potential barrier voltage, right? They had given option as 47.95, 24.52, 0.635, 1.242. I always insist on that you have to see the question carefully. First, you go for the guessing option, then you started calculating it. Okay. Now, I will tell you the clue. See, consider the impurity doping profile in a silicon. PN junction has a shown in figure. Doping concentrations and all they had given. P type. P type is made with what? P type is nothing but a intrinsic semiconductor doped with a trivalent impurity. Okay, right? So P type. So here the concentration is Na, not Nd, because acceptor ions. Okay, right? Acceptor impurity, acceptor concentration. Right now, so here P type is Na. Okay, right? And next, what they had given, and N is doping with a concentration of minus 10 power 15, right? So here the doping concentration with the Nd. Okay, right? So here they all had given what is the built-in potential they are asking. Now they are given clearly stated the here what type of a semiconductor. It is a silicon, right? For silicon. So what will be the built-in potential? Assume that a zero voltage is applied to the PN junction. So here it is not a negative voltage. It is a zero voltage. I told you in the first class itself, other than negative voltage, whatever you are giving to PN diode, it's a positive only, right? They had applied to PN junction, it is a zero voltage. It means it is a forward biased. It is a forward biased. So for a forward biased, what will be the built-in potential? What is actually built-in potential? The potential which exists during the depletion region, that is called the built-in potential. Okay, so now I think you can guess the answer. What is the maximum depletion region, or that is, what is the maximum cut-in voltage that I can break the barrier? I can break the potential barrier. For silicon, it is from zero point 0.6 to 0.7. For germanium, it is zero point 0.3. It started from 0.2, sometimes it is 0.3. Okay. The built-in potential is nothing but the potential exists in the depletion region. Okay. So you need to apply that much potential to break the potential barrier. Clear? Right. So here they had given a silicon. So what will be your answer? Your answer, what will be your potential? For a forward bias region, what will be the built-in potential? Is it 47.95, 24.52, 0.635, 1.242? So either 0.635 or 1.242. 47.95 is ruled out. That much potential will not existing during your forward bias, right? PN junction is shown. Assume that is zero voltage is applied to the PN junction. It means a forward bias. So 47.95 will not exist. Similarly, 24.52 will not exist. 0.635 and 1.242. Now it is a silicon. Obviously, it should be a 0.635 or 1.242. So now we'll see what will be the option. See, in the first case, I'm taking p-type semiconductor, which is Na minus Nd, which is equal to 10 power 16 per centimeter cube. Okay, or I can, since it is a p-type semiconductor, obviously there is no donor concentration impurity. You make Nd as 0. So Na equal to 10 power 16 per centimeter cube. So put Nd equal to 0. Next, we'll come to the N-type region. In N-type region, my Na minus Nd is equal to minus 10 power 15 per centimeter cube, or I can write Nd equal to 10 power 15 per centimeter cube. The reason is I'm making Na equal to acceptor concentration is 0 here, right? So Nd equal to 10 power 15 per centimeter cube. So I'm here writing acceptor concentration is actually it is 0. Now your built-in voltage is actually Vt ln NaNd by Ni square. So your Vt thermal voltage is 25 millivolt, or I can write 0.0259 ln of 10 power 16 into 10 power 14 and Ni square value. So if you substitute the value, you will get around 0.635. Correct? 0.635. See, you substitute all these values, right? You will get 0.635, right? So when you get 0.635, obviously, see, if that is, I had given the clue, right? If you go according to that, your guess is right, which is 6.635. See, I asked you to only guess, okay, but you have to work it out and see whether your guess is correct. Don't blindly guess and tick the value. Clear? See, consider the impurity doping profile in a silicon PN junction as shown in figure. Assume that zero voltage is applied to the PN junction. For silicon, the relative permittivity epsilon R is 11.7. Don't get confused with all these things, okay? Epsilon R is 11.7. You have to see silicon. What kind of a bias is applied? Zero voltage is applied. It means other than negative value, all are forward bias only, right? So it is forward bias. So in the forward bias, what will be the built-in potential barrier? That is the existing potential barrier voltage. So in the forward biased value, what you have to relate with the cut-in voltage. What is cut-in voltage? The maximum voltage at which your potential barrier breaks. Okay, right? So and your current, then it started conducting. Your diode started conducting. Okay, so 47.95 is maximum, that will not be there, and 24.52 will not be there. Either 0.635 or 1.242. Okay, only these two values. So since it is a forward bias, my guess is actually 0.635. After guessing, you go for the calculation always. Okay, right? So go for the calculation. Now your Na minus Nd, here it's a p-type semiconductor. So donor concentration making it 0. So Na equal to 10 power 16 per centimeter cube. And in the n-type region, you make your acceptor concentration actually 0. So Nd equal to 10 power 15 per centimeter cube. And you write the built-in voltage equation. See, always a sure, there is a sure question from built-in voltage, and a sure question from the mobility and conductivity, and a sure question from your doping concentrations, right? So these are all sure questions from you take any kind of a competitive exam. Okay, so actually this question is from ISRO 2019, right? See, whatever questions I have taken in this session, all are from ISRO 2019, and only two problems from 2020. Okay, right? So your answer is, it is 0.65 635. Okay, I think I have completed the session. Go to there is over to Arun and Praveen sir, whether you are planning to give any quiz questions. Praveen sir, Arun sir.
Okay, madam. Take it from.
So I
Participants,
think the
please wait.
session.
Do not leave the chat, and you can check your
Yes.
checkbox. Immediately we'll post our quiz form and e-certificate form. You can fill. The time limit is today till 4 p.m. And do not share the link with others. Only participant registers can enroll. And thank you. And we'll see on the next module, digital electronics, on Monday, 11 a.m.
Thank you, Arun. Thank you, Praveen sir. Thank you, Dandapani sir. Thank you, Kalaivani ma'am, Kalaipriya ma'am.
It's very nice session, ma'am. Even basics are refreshed. You are teaching like
Thank you. Thank you,
you
sir.
are taught like you are teaching a first semester student to faculties. It was very nice, ma'am. Thank you. Yeah, thank
Thank
you.
you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Ma'am, whether your PPT will be shared, ma'am? Just one doubt, ma'am.
Yeah, definitely. Arun sir will share. Arun and Praveen sir will share. Definitely, ma'am. They will share you.
Okay, ma'am. It's very
You can check our YouTube channel,
yeah,
ma'am, for the
yeah,
videos.
yeah, sir. Videos is there, but PPT I'm asking, sir, for PPT.
Okay, ma'am, I will confirm with my convener and confirm
Okay,
you.
sir. Okay, sir. Thank you.
Participants link will not be shared in WhatsApp group.
The quiz questions also there, only forms you have shared now.
No, both quiz form as well as e-certificate form
Okay.
and feedback form. All are combined together.
All combined together in one form, sir.
Yeah, yes, madam.
Okay, sir. Sir, only when we get above the marks, then only will be given the certificate, sir. Please, sir. What is
No, there will be grading, but there will not be any cutoff.
Okay, sir. Okay. Thank you.
Any feedback or suggestions, you are always welcome. and you can mail to us stdpece2020@gmail.com.
Yes, please give your suggestions.
Only one request, please, if possible, please share PPT. If possible.
Yeah,
That's
we are
only one
sharing
request.
PPT.
Okay.
Okay.
Before 4 o'clock, we need to complete the feedback form, right, sir?
Yes, madam.
Okay, sir.